Greetings, Guardians. This is Olympus Alliance. Before we dive into today's breakdown, make sure to subscribe to the channel and drop a like if you enjoy this kind of strategic content. Your support allows us to continue bringing you deeper analysis, smarter decisions, and guides that actually help you win more fights in Dominion. And today, we continue something new. A series focused not on heroes, not on teams, but on one of the most powerful tools you have to adapt your gameplay. Talismans. Because unlike every other system in Hero Wars, skins, glyphs, artifacts, once you invest in those, they are locked. You can't change them from fight to fight. But talismans. Talismans are different. They allow you to adjust your hero depending on the opponent, depending on the matchup, and depending on what you need in that exact moment. And that flexibility is what makes them so powerful. In this series, we are going faction by faction, starting with honor heroes. For each hero, we break down both talismans, analyze their stats, and most importantly, understand when each one should be used. Because choosing the right talisman is not just about numbers. It's about context. It's about understanding the fight before it even begins. And as always, when we analyze talismans, we look at two things. First, the main stat, the fixed one. And second, the variable stat, the one you can reroll using metacubes. That second stat is where optimization happens. That's where small changes can create big differences. So pay attention, Guardians. Because this is where smart players separate themselves. Today, we focus on a hero that many of you will remember very well. Artemis. The Queen of the Bow. A hero that once stood at the center of one of the most dominant metas in the game. The famous fart composition. Back then, Artemis was a true threat. Her damage output, her synergy, and most importantly, her ultimate timing made her incredibly dangerous. But as the game evolved, things changed. New heroes arrived. New mechanics were introduced. More control, more burst, more complexity. And Artemis slowly faded from the spotlight. Today, she is much less common in high-level play. And one of the main reasons is simple. She is very one-dimensional. Her entire value revolves around one moment. Her ultimate. If that ultimate lands at the right time, she can deal massive damage. If it doesn't, her impact drops significantly. And this is important to understand. Because when we talk about talismans, we are not just boosting stats. We are reinforcing what the hero already does. So let's look at her two talismans. The first one is the Talisman of Hunt. This talisman provides agility as the main stat, and physical attack as the secondary stat. Right away, this aligns perfectly with her role. Agility increases her overall scaling, and physical attack directly boosts her damage output. And since Artemis relies heavily on dealing as much damage as possible when her ultimate activates, this talisman strengthens exactly what she needs. Now, it's worth noting that this talisman originally came at a very high cost, 10,000 VIP points. But like many first talismans, it is now available through the Eternal Frontier shop, making it much more accessible. So for most players today, this talisman is no longer locked behind heavy investment. Now let's look at the second option. The Talisman of Inquisition. This one provides critical hit chance as the main stat and armor as the secondary stat. At first glance, this might seem useful. Critical hit chance is generally a strong stat for physical damage dealers. Armor adds survivability. So it sounds balanced. But here's the problem. Artemis already has a strong base of critical hit chance through her skills, equipment, glyphs, and artifact bonuses. Adding more critical hit does not significantly change her performance. It's diminishing returns. And the armor, while useful in theory, does not solve her main issue. Because Artemis is not a frontline hero. She is not meant to absorb damage. She is meant to survive long enough to use her ultimate. So adding armor does not fundamentally change how she plays or how she performs. And this is where the decision becomes clear. Because when we go back to her skills, we see something very important. All of her abilities scale with physical attack. Every part of her kit is tied to how much damage she can output. So when you compare the two talismans, one provides a significant boost to physical attack. The other provides none. And that alone is enough to decide. The Talisman of Hunt is simply better. Not situationally. Not conditionally. But consistently. Because it directly increases the stat that defines her role. It strengthens her ultimate. It improves her damage output. And it aligns perfectly with what Artemis is designed to do. And what about the second talisman? Is there any situation where it becomes the better choice? In reality, very few. You could argue that in certain compositions, where survivability is slightly more important, the armor might help. You could also consider it if you are building around very specific critical hit interactions. But even then, it rarely outperforms the raw value of physical attack. Because in the end, Artemis is not about balance. She is about damage. So the verdict is simple. If you are building Artemis, if you are investing resources into her, if you want her to perform as effectively as possible, you use the Talisman of Hunt? No hesitation. No confusion. No need to overthink. And this is a perfect example of what this series is about. Not every decision is complicated. Not every hero requires deep situational analysis. Sometimes the answer is clear. But you only see it when you understand the hero. So Guardians, this is Artemis. A hero from a powerful past. Still capable of dealing damage. But only when built correctly. And as we continue this series, we will keep breaking down more heroes, more talismans, and more decisions that can change the outcome of your fights. Because in the end, it's not just about power, it's about making the right choice. Stay tuned, stay sharp. And as always, salute and friendship.